When you ask AI a question, where does the answer come from? Does it come from a large database, an index, somewhere where we've stored loads of sentences? The answer is none of those. And understanding how AI works will fundamentally help you understand why AI sometimes hallucinates, why it gets things wrong, and why sometimes it surprises you with the accuracy of the answer it gives. The first and most fundamental thing is how AI uses weights. Think of a musician who's practiced for 10,000 hours on the guitar. They, without a moment's notice, can play a song on demand, but they can't tell you the exact time and place where they learnt to play a specific chord. It's really interesting because a musician almost has that muscle memory and can translate that into their fingers. They're able to use that to be able to reproduce any song at a moment's notice. And that's exactly the way AI works. It's a muscle with all these weights that has built up this understanding using repetition over time. We've covered this in another video, but during the training of an AI model, it was exposed to billions of records of data, from websites to books to research papers, and it learned over time how these things contextualize and relate to each other. It wasn't memorizing anything, it was asked just to predict the next word. And because it had so much exposure to all of this data, over time, these small weights kept getting nudged in different directions until the output made sense. By the end of the training, these models had learned statistical patterns of human language and human nature, not stored as facts, but encoded as tendencies. Nobody programmed in that Paris is the capital of France. It just saw that in the training data so many billions of times that it got encoded into the weights. So what we're saying there is the knowledge of an AI model is stored as numbers, not facts. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why AI sometimes hallucinates. AI models don't store facts, they store patterns. And those patterns sometimes lead to confident answers that are just plain wrong. The second type of AI memory is that of the context window. Now, every time you start a new session and you're going back and forth with an AI model, that context is growing. Think of context as working memory. But of course, the downside of this is as soon as we start a new session, all that context is gone. So consider context as short-lived memory within AI. The third type of memory is external, and it's one that you add yourself, and that is the vector database. Think about all your company's documents, the PDFs, the emails, the Google Drives, and chunking that information up and converting it into a number and storing that number effectively on a map that understands sentiment, tone, and related content. Every time you ask AI a question, your input is being converted into a vector, into a number, and it's mapping directly within that sphere of our vector database, so it can pull back relevant information that is pertinent to what you're asking. And vector databases are super powerful, right? Because unlike context, they are not ephemeral, they are permanent, and they are a really good way, without training an AI model, to give it context of your environment. In reality, when we ask AI a question, it's using all three types of those memory to give you the best possible answer. The model draws on its weights, everything it's absorbed during training, the encoded patterns, the behaviors. It's using the context window, information that you've given it in that session to help it reason. And it's using a vector database, if it's available, to pull meaningful chunks of information across your business estate. All three of these are fed into the brain of the model. So we'll end the video there. 3 types of memory, 3 different mechanisms. Now you know the difference. If this video makes sense, feel free to subscribe. Thank you.